Hey, welcome to Tech Practice Briefs. I am Jess Birkin. I'm a lawyer that focuses on nonprofit practice, and I love helping lawyers learn about new technology and new ways to think about their practice so that you can love your lawyer life a little bit more. So, you are joining us today for one of our first Tech Practice Briefs, and the topic today is 5 easy ways to delegate without hiring staff. Um, so hopefully that's what you're in for. We're going to talk for a few minutes about some ideas, why we should delegate, how to think about it, and what we should do. If you are interested in following me on Twitter, you can tweet at me at Jess Birkin. I love legal Twitter. There's a lot of lawyers out there tweeting about all of this stuff, and it's a really fun community to get involved in. So, thank you for spending the time here today, and I hope that you'll find this helpful. All right, so that's me. That's me with my two daughters, Lexi and Samantha, and they are, basically the reason that I work as hard as I do to sort of find ways that I can not only, be a better lawyer, but really enjoy my law practice more. So one of the things when you're solo is, trying to find the time in the day to give these two little girls the time with mom that they really deserve, right? And I'm sure that if I were to look in your computers or your phones, that I would find some similar photos. And so I think it's important to remember that that's the place we're coming from, right? We're lawyers because we're called to the profession. We enjoy our work, hopefully, but really at the end of the day, we're real people that have lives, and we don't want our practices to just completely consume all of our time. So those are my motivations right there. Um, what are your motivations? And I'm guessing that if you're anything like me, this next photo is something that you can relate to when it comes to thinking about being a busy lawyer. That looks very familiar to a lot of us in the solo small world. We are wearing all the hats, right? We're doing all the things, we're wearing all the hats. We're the HR manager for any staff we might have. We are the CEO, we're the CFO, we're the inside sales person, we're the outside sales person, we're the marketing director, we are the accounts payable clerk, we are the accounts receivable clerk, we're the customer service representative. We are wearing a lot of hats at any given time. And, according to the Thomson Reuters US State of Small Firms survey last year, we're spending 40 to 45% of our time as solo small attorneys doing non-legal work. And if you follow Clio at all, Clio is a practice management software company. They've been tracking data from their cloud service about how many hours, billable hours a day solo small attorneys are billing. And last year, I believe the report average was two. So, two billable hours a day is about the best that any solo small is hoping for because we're spending up to half of our time doing administrative work that's not legal work. So, that gets to this issue of needing to delegate, right? Delegation. The word that we're all maybe a little bit afraid of because a lot of times as a solo, delegation really feels like we're saying, well, you need to hire someone. And a lot of us are not in a position to be taking on staff. That's a huge obligation. Just the idea of having to, be subject to wage and hour laws and payroll tax and all the things that go along with that. I know lawyers who have practiced on their own for upwards of 20 years and still are, could probably hire help and probably need to hire an associate, but just don't, right? or are just getting to it now because it's a big undertaking. So, what I'm interested in talking about today are, how do we expand our ideas of how we think about delegation? How do we think about delegation in ways that don't involve hiring a staff person or an associate to help us? Because a lot of us aren't ready, can't afford it, it's too scary, whatever, right? So, how can we break off a smaller piece? So, as you're thinking about delegation for your firm and really for anywhere, there are sort of three buckets that everything that you could possibly delegate or everything that you do falls into. The first bucket is things that we should do, right? We should be having some sort of meaningful contact with our clients. We should be doing the important critical thinking and analysis. We should be doing businessing, networking, business development, and working on building relationships and all of those things that generate new business, right? Then there's things that we should not do. Um, and the list for this is long. So as you start thinking about all of the things you do, you can put them into one of these categories. And I'm guessing that the things we should not do is going to be partially confused by things we think that we have to do. So if you agree that your highest and best use is as a lawyer, then pretty much everything that's not lawyering or client development or business development to generate more of the lawyering are things you should not be doing. Okay. Now, is that realistic? Can you offload all of those things? No, obviously not. Um, but I think it's important to be honest with ourselves about what those things are, because sometimes we're not really honest with ourselves about what those things are, and instead we are sort of telling ourselves a story that we need to and we should be doing lots more than we actually should. So I would challenge you to sort of like be honest with yourself as you think about these things. All right, so then the third, so you've got things we should do, things we should not be doing, but probably are anyway, and then things that we like to do, even if we shouldn't be doing them. So that's okay too. It's okay to have things that you like doing, and you don't necessarily have to delegate those. So let's say, you may really enjoy taking every new potential client call that comes in. Well, that's okay. Maybe you're the best person at that. Maybe because you get so much enjoyment out of that piece, that's one that shouldn't be delegated because you can delegate other things. So you kind of get a sense for like the three buckets here. So let's talk about some ideas for how we can delegate without hiring staff. And we want these things to be easy. We want these things to take something that's really kind of drudgery off of our plate, right? Because one of the things that I find is when you start saying, let's have you stop doing this, and this is true in office environments or anywhere, sometimes people freak out because you're taking away their work. So just recognize if that feeling comes up for you, that you're like there's resistance, that sometimes it's just because change is hard and people don't like to have their stuff taken away from them, even if it's something that they'll be better off not doing. All right, so the first idea here is bookkeeping. Are you actually an accountant? Do you have any sort of certificate in bookkeeping? Are you spending all your time every month for hours reconciling your books? And if you are, do you even know that you're doing it right? Because you're probably not. So quit being a bookkeeper and hire somebody like Juris Bookkeeping to do your books for you. So Juris Bookkeeping is a bookkeeping business. You can see the lady in charge is Annette. She's in the bottom of the picture there. She's amazing. She and her staff do accounting, bookkeeping for solo small firms, they're fantastic. And for less than, a billable hour, you can have them reconcile your books and give you a P&L. I bet you're probably not even running a P&L or, a balance sheet and an income statement every month. And these folks could just be doing that for you. And all you have to do is look at the reports, and then you know it's done right. So for a small fee, you could outsource your bookkeeping. It's a really great idea. The next idea is, what about having a call service? You've heard of Ruby Receptionist. There are other companies out there. This is a company called Smith AI. They have a fantastic system that's super great. I met one of their people recently and was very impressed with them. What if you didn't answer every phone call? And what if you could work and not be interrupted by the phone ringing? What if you didn't have voicemails getting lost in your inbox for 3 weeks where new business is coming in and you're not on top of it? All of these things can be possible if you delegate your phone answering. It's very, very critical for lawyers to answer the phone, especially for new business, but it's also very, very critical that you have time where you can concentrate and get the actual work done without being distracted. And a phone answering service is a really fantastic way to solve this problem. You don't have to hire staff, you just pay them a flat monthly fee, or sometimes it's by call volume. I say give it a try. All right, next one is using online scheduling. It is such a time suck to have all the communications up for scheduling any sort of meeting or phone call. It is ridiculous how much time this wastes, and it is really easy to delegate your scheduling to an application, a cloud-based service like Acuity Scheduling, to do this for you. Now, if you look on my YouTube channel, I have a bunch of videos about how I use Acuity. I go into a lot more depth there. I'm not going to get into all of that here. You can check those out. If you want to try a free trial account, you can use this link here. That's a referral link. I do get a little bit of credit with the company if you go that direction, which is awesome. So thank you if you try it out. But this tool allows everybody to just schedule themselves. It hooks up to your Outlook calendar or your Gmail calendar, and it knows when you're busy and when you're free. And you can say, I don't want to take calls before 9 a.m. or I don't want to take calls after 2 p.m. on Thursdays. You can set all of that up in the back end. And it's really amazing how much time you will save if you delegate your calendaring to Acuity. Now, if you've ever had lunch or drinks or a call with me, you know how slick it is because I use it and I use it for like everything. So please try it. It's totally worthwhile, and I think it's like $15 a month. That is so cheap. You do not need staff. All right. Next idea is outsource a project with a company like Freelancer. There's lots of them. There's Upwork, there's Freelancer. You can try Freelancer and get a $20 credit by using this link. Super easy. You just go onto the website, you type up the project you want. Maybe it's you need somebody to build an Excel table for you. Maybe it is somebody needs to sort through and rename a boatload of files that got scanned in. Who knows? It could be anything menial to the most advanced web design or whatever you got. You can basically find somebody to do your project on Freelancer, and it's a one-time deal. You don't have to have a continuing relationship with them, and everything gets funneled through the Freelancer website. Their customer service is amazing. So it feels very safe when you're doing it, which is really nice if you've never tried anything like this before. All right, and our fifth and final idea for today is to try out a virtual assistant. There are lots of companies out there. I really recommend going with somebody who's US based. I've used international virtual assistants before, and I've found that some of the language barriers are very difficult when I'm needing them to talk with clients or be able to email about sort of complex business legal type stuff. There's a lot of vocabulary issues that come up. So one of the companies that I have found is Belay. I don't use them right now, but I have done interviews with them. They seem great. There are a bunch of other companies out there too, but I would encourage you to just try it because you would be amazed at what a virtual assistant can do to help you manage your calendar, manage your email. What if you just didn't have to check your email but once a day and somebody else had filtered through it all, deleted all the junk, responded to everything that was a basic, you know, 10-cent request and left you with just the very advanced lawyer stuff you needed to respond to. That's what I do now with my assistant who's here in Minnesota, and it's amazing. That is such a cool thing. And I realize this is probably the biggest, scariest idea in here, but I'm telling you, like, this can really rock your world as far as delegation goes, and you don't have to hire a staff person to do it. All right, so I've thrown a lot of things at you. Here's your, oh, let me go back here. Here's the link. It's belaysolutions.com if you want to check them out. But again, there are lots of companies out there. All right, so here's my challenge to you for today. What are you going to try delegating? I want you to sit down right now and write down 3 things that you think that are small, easy, and low-hanging fruit for you to try delegation on. Maybe it's not the virtual assistant right away. Maybe it is. Maybe you've delegated a bunch of other stuff and you're like, you know what? I need that. Maybe it's trying online scheduling. Maybe it is um, researching bookkeeping services. Whatever it is, write those things down and tell a friend that you're going to do it because I think the research shows that if you create some sort of public accountability for yourself, you don't have to like post it to the world, but at least tell one lawyer friend what you're planning on doing so that they will hopefully ask you about it next time you meet them for coffee and you'll feel that you need to follow up. All right. So, I hope this was helpful. If you want to get connected with me, go deeper, I have an email list. I send out, tips and tricks every couple of weeks. I've also got some great materials on 5 apps that will instantly make your life better. You can find me at hackyourpractice.lawyer, and I will be back soon for another tech practice brief. So I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for being here.